Fair. It'll be Garcia, Naylor in left, and Hosmer at first. No Machado today. Renfroe in right, Mejia catching, and Myers in center. France replaces Machado at third. It'll be Urias a shortstop, and Strom on the mound. Castillo, we mentioned, Chris, coming off the worst start of his major league career, allowed a career high 8 runs in that loss to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Well, everybody has a bump in the road, even a quality pitcher like Castillo. You know, if you look through the game-by-game logs of Luis Castillo, there's been, I think, 4 times this year where he's given up 4 runs or more. The very next start after those little bumps in the road, he has come back and really done a great job on the mound. I would expect no different here today. And he's got a team that is not at full strength. And this is perfect opportunity here for Castillo to go deep and give the Reds a really great chance to win this game.
All righty, here we go. Those are the numbers in that loss to the St. Louis Cardinals. But you turn the page as he delivers ball 1 to Greg Garcia in this game on a Wednesday afternoon on a mostly cloudy day. Temperatures considerably cooler than they've been the last couple of days. 2-0.
Interesting how the shifts have evolved here. You know, Tom, it used to be that third baseman would play on the shortstop spot very deep. But, you know, even though Garcia hits the ball on the ground and pulls it, they're still warning and worried a little bit about a first pitch bunt. And that's why they bring the third baseman in there to just kind of discourage.
Well, if you want to learn how to field a bunt down at third base, look no further than Domingo Ayala.
Yeah.
One of the outstanding infield instructors. And really on top of launch angle and exit velocity and so many other topics.
Some interesting hitting theories, too.
Very, very good. Chopped on the right side, gobbled up by Freddie Galvis. And it's out number 1. Let's take a look at the Reds on defense, presented by Ford. It is Senzel again in center, and again it's Irvin in left with Aquino in right. Galvis continues to get regular playing time at second, as does Van Meter. Swinging a very, very good bat is Josh Van Meter. Now Naylor hit a long home run in the game here last night to straightaway center field. He was on base 3 times, had 2 hits. Boy, when the ball comes off this guy's bat, he has hit the ball as hard as anybody we've seen in the National League this year.
I mean, look at him. Yeah, he's built for power. Big, strong guy. Large, powerful trunk. Takes a real big hack. In fact, he chased the pitch up and out of the strike zone last night and hit it right on the button. So he's always geared for the fastball. His problem may be negotiating the Castillo changeup. And right now, Castillo has to be very happy with the way that strike zone's looking right now. Nick Lentz behind home plate, and there's the power of Josh Naylor.
He hit a one-hop ground ball at the first baseman last night, Van Meter, to start a double play that had an exit velocity which registered at 115 miles per hour.
Welcome aboard, Tom. Welcome
2 balls
aboard.
and 2 strikes is the count on Naylor. And a swing and a miss, and that's 2 away in the inning. First strikeout for Luis Castillo. And the 53rd strikeout of this series. That's right, 53. The 2 teams, as Jim Day told you a little while ago, combining for 28 punch-outs on Monday, 24 more yesterday.
Now, the bigger the swing, the bigger chance you're going to hit the ball hard, but also the bigger chance you're going to swing and miss, especially on breaking pitches and changeups.
See, 80 of the 100 strikeouts Castillo has against the left-handed batters have come on that changeup. Nothing in 1 on Eric Hosmer. Fastball runs inside at 97 miles per hour from Castillo. Reds a very, very long road trip. They still have 2 more of those this season. That means 3 city road trips. It will start on Friday night in Pittsburgh. And then the team following that series will go all the way down to South Florida to Miami and then race back into the heartland to wrap it up in St. Louis. 2-1 to Hosmer. Started 2. They appealed. He did not go around, so 3 balls and a strike on the San Diego first baseman. Identical records for these teams. They came into this series with identical record, and each with a win and a loss. Right at Galvis, down on one knee to make sure, and Castillo in perfect fashion to open the opening inning. Reds are coming up. That scoreless game, bottom of the first inning, and the Reds starting lineup under manager David Bell, presented by Furniture Fair. Senzel, Iglesias, Suarez, Aquino the cleanup hitter with Irvin in left and Galvis batting 6th. Barnard 7th, Van Meter all the way down in the number 8 spot, and then Luis Castillo against Matt Strahm. It has been a while since Strahm has started a game. 27-year-old, 16 starts. This will be number 16. He's made 30 appearances overall. Strike 1 to Nick Senzel. Strahm a 3-7 record, an ERA of nearly 4.5, and we mentioned his first start in quite some time, going all the way back to the 2nd of July against the San Francisco Giants, working out of the bullpen ever since. Big swing and a miss, 0-1. What do we look for from Matt Strahm?
Well, you will get a mixed bag of pitches up there. He's a guy that really emphasizes his breaking stuff. Fastball about 38% of the time. Slider, curveball, changeup, mostly curveballs when he really needs it out. That's been his most effective pitch.
And he puts away Senzel on 3 pitches to start the Cincinnati first inning. Well, the Reds have seen Strahm once already this year, back when they were in town to take on the Padres during Easter weekend, and look at that outing he had against them.
Wow, that was the best he's had all year long. Has not anywhere come close to throwing 8 innings, at least not with that effectiveness. He only walked, in fact, he didn't walk anybody in that outing. He struck out 5.
And one thing that certainly catches your eye right away, having worked for so many appearances since his last start and coming in from the bullpen, he pitches exclusively out of the stretch.
Well, the one blemish he had on that 8-inning performance against the Reds was against Eugenio Suarez, who hit him for an opposite field home run.
Iglesias, since the All-Star break, has been a .320 batter. Of course, it was last night where he had his 14-game hitting streak come to an end. Went 0 for 3. So he'll try and start a brand new one today. You know, we talked about this stretch of games and the competition the Reds are playing. 3 consecutive series. The San Diego team sub 500. The Pirates a winning percentage of .416, followed by the Marlins with a winning percentage at .363. And you know, what could you do in those 9 games? I beg your pardon, 10 games, because it's a 4-gamer against the Marlins. Could this be a stretch where you gave it one more big surge to try and climb a little closer in the wild card or in the division? But the top 2 teams in the National League Central just keep on winning, seemingly every night. Cardinals and Cubs now on modest 3-game win streaks. Cardinals have really taken it to Milwaukee in the first 2 games of that series. And you see the Cubbies percentage points behind St. Louis for the top spot. Back-to-back strikeouts for Strahm to begin the game.
Yeah, they got the first one on a slower curveball. This one he gets on a slider, and he ties up Iglesias to get back-to-back punch-outs. Well, you can just see, I mean, Tom, I think that I've seen a difference even as this year has gone on, where swings are getting bigger. Guys are really going up there, even with 2 strikes. They're just cutting it loose. And no more is there any kind of a problem with a strikeout. Used to be that you'd be embarrassed when you go back to the dugout after if a guy struck you out, you take it personally. But now with pitchers striking out, at least a batter an inning, it's no more has that little coverage on it, and you're up there hacking in case you make contact. You want to see how far you can hit it.
Eugenio Suarez with 2 down and nobody on. Suarez looking for his first hit in this series. Here's that home run you referred to earlier, hitting it the opposite way back in April at Petco Park. Reds played very well in that series. They won 3 of the 4 games. Suarez has struck out 5 times the first 2 games of this series, 4 in the opener. And he's been on base twice, both times via the walk. Team leader in home runs with 34 and runs batted in 77. And it's still a ball and 2 strikes on Suarez with 2 outs and nobody on. And looped into left field, a base hit for Eugenio Suarez. The Padres on defense, presented by Ford. Will Myers back in the lineup in center. Naylor's gone from left to right, back to left. Renfroe out and right today. Talked about Ty France giving Manny Machado a rare day off. And we've seen Mejia start a game behind the plate, start a game in left field, and now hanging the signs once more. Here's Aquino. Still sitting on 11 home runs. It's hard to believe that a game goes by where he doesn't hit one, but he has not hit one in the last 3 games. His last was a 3-run home run in that 6-1 victory on Saturday against the Cardinals. 1 ball and 1 strike. Hot smash, but jerks it foul up the third base line. And every hitter in this inning, Strom has jumped out in front of once you got the 2 strikes into your bat. 0-2 on the first 2 batters, 1-2 on each of the next 2.
You would think that on the surface this would be a pretty good matchup here today with Aquino and Strom. Strom, his best pitches are breaking pitches that move in towards Aquino. His changeup is not something that he likes to go to all that often. That's a little off-speed pitch that go down and away by design anyway.
Ooh. And he was struck out the side in the opening inning. Fair choose Furniture Fair and by Skyline Chili. Feeling good. It's Skyline time. Here we go in inning number 2. Luis Castillo, a perfect first inning, and delivers strike 1 to Hunter Renfroe. Renfroe 31 home runs, just a .233 batter. Big, strong, powerful right-handed hitter. You see 57% of his hits this year have gone for extra bases, which makes him the highest percentage among all players in baseball, and that's about the 4th bat in this series that he's had chipped off or broken. That is a foul ball up the third base line. Suarez going over there to get it and not doing any umpiring.
Now Renfroe got off to a really good start, at least from the power number standpoint. His 6 home runs in April and March and April, and then in May and June hit 9 in each of those months, and has tapered off significantly here. In July, only 2 home runs so far here in the month of August. Renfroe did his college work down there at Mississippi State.
Yep.
Same school as the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley.
Yeah, he makes sure he goes around and talks to all those guys as we travel around the league.
I wonder if they have a special handshake.
They might.
Bulldogs. Well, they've got a beautiful ballpark down there. I think they just completed this year, if I'm not mistaken. Just one of the finest baseball facilities in all the United States. For college level,
and that's when he was inducted into their Ring of Honor when they opened that new ballpark. This will be the 10th pitch in this at bat. It's normally not the kind of at bat you get from Renfroe. Galvis has a shortstop's arm and shows it off there. Easily throwing out Renfroe, so it's 4 up, 4 down. A lengthy at bat, but an out recorded by Castillo.
Well, Galvis knows who's running. Renfroe built for power, not speed, but he still plants his feet and makes a really strong throw. I mean, he's in the outfield grass right here.
That'll bring up Francisco Mejia. We talked about how well this young man has swung the bat. Going back to the All-Star break, regular playing time, whether it be behind the plate or occasionally in the outfield. The Reds slowed him down last night. He went hitless. He had a home run in the first game of the series. Whoa, look out.
Now that was a slider right there. He was expecting that pitch to back up over the plate just the same way the first fastball did. Castillo doesn't throw all that many sliders to left-handers. That's an interesting pitch selection.
Well, he's been hurt by that slider in 2 of his last 3 starts. He came back with it again to strike out Mejia. But he's given up some big base hits with what is unquestionably his 3rd most effective pitch.
You know, the slider is a pitch that you're going to get a lot of swings and misses on, but it's also a pitch that, because it's a little bit slower than your fastball, when you hang it, it really goes a long way. So the slider is probably the most important pitch to miss in a safe spot rather than hang it in a hot spot.
Fastball up and away to the right-handed batting center fielder Will Myers, 1-time an All-Star player. But his numbers have really declined in recent years. One of the few players in Major League Baseball who does not wear batting gloves. Be checking in with Jim Day about some of the injury updates. Players being sent out to begin their climb back to the major league level. Tyler Mahle and Kurt Casale, and check in on the latest with Jesse Winker and Joey Votto.
Well, it really doesn't seem all that long ago when Will Myers was named the Rookie of the Year. 2013, he was 22 years old. Came up with the Tampa Bay Rays. Hit .293, had 13 bombs that year. In fact, that was the year that Jose Iglesias was also a rookie with Toronto, and he came in 2nd in the American League Rookie of the Year voting.
And as if on cue, one hits a ground ball to the other. 6 up, 6 down.
31 through 33, 308 games back then for that Yankee squad without being shut out. But the Yankees on quite the run right now.
Although last night, and Chris, you and I were watching a little bit of that game last night after this one wrapped up. Very impressive outing by Homer Bailey.
Yeah.
Of the Oakland Athletics, completely shutting down the Yankees into the 6th inning, allowed only 1 run. And Oakland coming away with a win there last night. Boy, did Bailey look good.
I think he really appreciated your little reach out to him after the game time. I was stunned personally to see how quickly he got back to you with a little text. And why not? You and Holmes were always very, very tight during his years here in Cincinnati.
Phillip Ervin to lead off the Cincinnati 2nd inning. 2 balls and a strike.
You know, when you're facing Strom, it's almost like you could go to the plate looking for a slider. Although he does have a fastball, he struck out Aquino on a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. That's the best one we've seen him throw of the day, but he's primarily a breaking pitch lefty.
Ervin is just completely worn out left-handed pitching. Now this one didn't get a whole lot behind it, but it drops in there for a base hit for Phillip Ervin.
You need a little luck every once in a while. Hitters will tell you that it never really does even out, that I hit more line drives at them than I get these falling in. But a leadoff hitter on with the Reds, and that Phillip Ervin, a little dropper in the center field.
So that will bring Freddie Galvis to the plate. 12 hits in his first 29 at bats, including 3 home runs and 6 runs batted in. Galvis setting a new career high in home runs. He hit 18 of those this season with Toronto, and now 3 as a Red. When he hit that huge 2-run home run last night in the 6th inning to snap a 1-1 tie. He has actually homered in each of the first 2 games of this series. That one he hit here the first night, way back. Through the hole, a base hit. The first 2 have reached in this Reds 2nd inning.
Kind of an old-fashioned rally going on right here. A little bloop job and then a ground ball that finds a hole between third base and shortstop.
Now Tucker Barnhart. 9 home runs, 32 batted in. He carries a .232 batting average, and that one sails up and away for ball 1. Phillip Ervin to lead at second base. Likewise for Freddie Galvis, a huge lead over at first, with Hosmer playing a good 35 feet off that first base line. It might be more than that. He is way over there. Double play ball here. And it can't turn it. Good, clean, hard slide by Galvis into Garcia to break up the turn at second base.
Well, Garcia kind of gets tangled up there with Galvis. They had a lot of time because Barnhart doesn't throw all that well, and just kind of an unusual way for Garcia to field that ball. A lot of times you'll see an experienced second baseman take that ball and then move behind the second base bag towards left field. Use the base as protection so that the runner will not break up the double play. Or you bounce off that bag towards the infield. But Garcia stayed right there on the bag. Galvis did his thing, and Reds get away with not hitting into a double play ball.
Yeah, you can actually see on that replay, Garcia's left foot was in front of the bag where Galvis was coming in. And watch Galvis, he actually pins the foot against the bag. Watch this right there, where he had no leverage to make that throw.
I mean, that's what happens when you stay around the bag too long. You're inviting the runner to upset the double play.
All right, so now Van Meter with a chance to get the Reds on the board. Runners on the corners and one out. Now Van Meter getting a chance, and look, they don't come around all that often. But Van Meter wants to be an everyday player. And against right-handed pitching, he is proving he can hit in the big leagues. He doesn't get very many chances against the lefties. Only 13 at-bats where he has 2 base hits. Against right-handers, this guy's hitting .311. Straight up in the air behind the plate, and that one will drop in amongst the fans. Strahm, another one of those pitchers, and we saw the same thing from Lauer in the series opener, where left-handed hitters hit far better against him, talking about Strahm, than the right-handers do. Right-handers are batting .257. Left-handers are batting .310 with an on-base percentage of almost .380.
You know, I can see with Lauer, after watching Lauer pitch a couple of times, I would speculate the reason lefties do well is because he really concentrates his pitches on the third base side of home plate. And if you want extension, you're going to get it out there on the outer third and beyond. Strahm a little different. I mean, he's got a little slower breaking pitch, but neither of them really attack lefties on the inner part of the plate. That's oftentimes the key to getting a lefty on lefty out.
Runner takes off for second base and successfully stealing the bag is Barnhart. His first attempt and his first steal all year.
Picked a good time because the catcher Mejia just bobbled the ball. I mean, it handcuffed him and he just wasn't able to hold on to it. We saw Mejia play left field last night. He's still a work in progress behind the plate.
So now the Padres are going to bring their infield in, with no longer the opportunity to play a double play depth, and Strahm ahead of Van Meter at 1 and 2. That's the first stolen base for Tucker Barnhart since 2017. He had 4 of them that year. It's a big strikeout for Strahm, and it's a second out of the inning. His 4th strikeout already in this game. And that's what you were talking about earlier, Chris. That swing right there from Van Meter, and it's not to sit here and beat up on him, but that is not a 2-strike put the ball in play with a runner at third base swing.
I mean, look, you're almost falling down at the end of that. Well, I mean, that's just the way hitters approach hitting nowadays. I mean, you're right. You can't get on Van Meter about that because everybody else in the league is doing the same thing. But there are times, especially when you're in the number 8 hole, you got the pitcher coming up next, you got 2 guys in scoring position, where you've got to tell yourself, in this at bat, I have to make contact. I have to get the ball into the outfield. Hit a lazy fly ball, if nothing else. Give your ace of the staff 1 run with which to work.
Well, so then in reality, you can get on Van Meter a little bit, because that certainly is the logical line of thinking. And clearly there was none of that in the approach to that at bat. Ground ball to short, and the inning is over. Reds strand 2. We played 2, and we're scoreless.
Plus, you'll get 2 tickets to a future Reds game. Enjoy a day of fun and fitness for only $20. Visit Reds.com/movement. Freddie Galvis, hailing from Venezuela. Take you back to 2012. It's when he first knew that he was on the verge of a major league career. He's with the Phillies. He had number 71 the year prior when he went to camp. And he showed up for big league camp expecting another high number. When you get a high number, you're not expected to make the team. Well, much to his surprise, he found his locker next to shortstop Jimmy Rollins and the number 13 on the back. If you're from Venezuela and they give you 13 and you're a shortstop, it is a high, high honor. Because Omar Vizquel, his hero, wore that number. Before that, the great Davey Concepcion of the Reds. And 13 he wore proudly. You ask any Venezuelan about the number 13, and they will go on and on about it. However, here with the Reds, 13 hanging and forever retired. He will not wear 13 here.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the first shortstop in that very long line of greats from Venezuela to wear the number 13, and it's the reason that Davey Concepcion did and the reason all the rest of them did right on down the line, was Luis Aparicio. Well, he wore number 11. I'm wrong. I apologize for that. I thought he wore number 11. But boy, what a great player he was. He, though, was the guy that all those others certainly looked up to and loved to watch play. Chicago White Sox, great player. But 13, indeed. That is a great number, and what a great player Concepcion was. It's still hard to believe that he has not drawn more consideration for baseball's Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Well, you won't get any argument in Reds country about that.
No. But I think you can even step outside of Reds country, and there's the first base runner of the game against Luis Castillo. You just start diving into some of the numbers, and that's where we are in the world. It's all about the numbers. And Concepcion's numbers certainly warrant him being enshrined into Cooperstown.
Well, the more fringe major league Hall of Famers they put in, and I mean fringe, are the guys who are right on the line, not taking anything away from them, because even to be considered, you have to be just an outstanding player for a long time in the major leagues. But the more of those guys they put in, the more players like Davey Concepcion and his performances over his career look better and better.
You know, the other side of that, Chris, though, that I find fearful is that in a day and age where guys are going to be racking up numbers offensively because of just the state of the game, whether you're looking at home runs, especially home runs, and then some other categories that people are placing a great deal of importance on, you know, whether it's on base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, all those kinds of things, that some of those players who weren't hitting the home runs, i.e. Concepcion, although for a shortstop, he certainly, during his time, had good power. But you look at some of the shortstops in recent years that have come through and the home run numbers. Now, Alex Rodriguez is a guy, it's not in the Hall of Fame, but I mean, look at those numbers. Look at Cal Ripken Jr. Look at some of these other guys that played shortstop for years and years and years and are currently playing now. Scoreless game. We're in the top of the third inning. Great to have you with us on this Wednesday afternoon. Most of the games around Major League Baseball on a Wednesday will be played tonight. Not all of them. We know the Cubs and the Giants will be at it under the lights at Wrigley Field tonight. So too will the Cardinals and the Brewers. Over in the American League, there are a couple of games underway already, including Minnesota. Twins losing early on, but they've opened a 3-game lead over the Cleveland Indians after the Indians had leapfrogged them a week ago. The Indians got kicked around by the New York Mets last night. Mets are now right behind the top 2 wild card teams in the National League. And there's strike 3 called to Luis Urias.
Now 1 per inning now for Castillo. Just feathers this little changeup right on the outside corner. Like to run that one off about 10,000 times. I mean, no framing necessary there for Barnhart.
So now the pitcher Strom, who has a couple of sacrifices, but this guy can hit. He has 6 hits and 21 at bats.
Not today.
Strike 1. You know, we had Jim Day there a minute or 2 ago. We were talking about Davey Concepcion and Freddie Galvis. Here's the attempt by Van Meter coming up just short. But I know a lot of Reds fans want to know what's going on with Jesse Winker and Joey Votto. And Jim Day's been all over the clubhouse before games and after games. He and Jeff Pecoro and have to get the very latest. Winker is still on the active roster, despite the fact that he has had 1 at bat since initially being pulled from the lineup and injuring his bat. Well, Jim Day, what is the latest on Jesse Winker?
The question the Reds had today, and his availability today is still in question, but the question they had as far as the injured list was, would he be better by Friday? And the answer to that, apparently from the training staff, was yes. So they did not put him on the injured list today. Now, this is all subject to change with an injured player, but I'm not sure if he's available today. But they are hoping by Friday, and no injured list for him.
And the progress, you've been all over the story as well, of Joey Votto.
He is eligible, I believe. You have to look this up for me. It's either Saturday or Sunday. They say that he is progressing well, and that they wouldn't be surprised if he comes off in Pittsburgh.
All right, now Kurt Casale. You told us yesterday he was on his way to Columbus to play last night.
He did play last night, and the reports are that he has not felt this good in a long, long time. So the report's very good for Casale. By the way, you mentioned Tyler Mahle. He is to pitch today for the Louisville Bats. Casale will catch him, and Dietrich will play as well. So they are expecting Casale to be activated in Pittsburgh as well.
All righty, well, you're up to speed. There's a bunt on a 2-strike pitch. Castillo thought about second base. He'll go to first instead to get the second out of the inning, and to sacrifice the third on the year by Strom.
Yeah, that sounded like a complete laundry list of players that the Reds have either on rehab or considering taking off the injured list. And you wonder what the corresponding roster moves would be if they make these moves before September 1st, when you can open up the roster and bring up a lot of guys. It would warrant a lot of movement back and forth.
Yeah,
I'm sure that kind of plays into it.
I mean, Brian O'Grady would naturally be the first guy you would think of if you had to make a roster move. But after that, you're exactly right.
I mean, for position players.
Yeah.
After O'Grady, you're looking at Winker, Peraza, Lorenzen, and Farmer as position players available to David Bell today.
There's a drive into deep right center field by Garcia that's going to plate the first run of the game. So a 2-out double by the San Diego second baseman makes it 1-0 San Diego here in the third inning.
It looks like he got an off-speed pitch that was just about knee high. I mean, that's not a bad spot for most hitters, but Garcia goes right down there to get it and laces it into the right center field gap. The successful sacrifice ensured that run comes around to score.
Now Naylor with Garcia at second base and 2 outs in the inning. Reds had a scoring chance in the bottom of the second inning. Had runners at first and second, none out. Runners at first and third, one out. Second and third, one out. And could not get the run home. And now the Padres get a big 2-out hit from Garcia. Goodness gracious. That's what we were talking about when Naylor came up his first time today. He's only a .252 batter and he has 7 home runs. Of course, he's not been up with a big league club all year long, but man,
he doesn't get cheated.
No, he does not. When he strikes and makes contact with that baseball, that exit velocity there, Chris, and you're all over that each and every pitch at 111. Not quite that there.
How about that broken back grounder?
What's the exit velo on that?
Bad launch angle.
One of the most clutch hitters in postseason history. That's at 6 o'clock tonight on Fox Sports Go or streaming at Fox Sports Ohio. Well, it wasn't a long outing. We weren't expecting a long outing from Matt Strahm. He had not started a game since the 2nd of July, so Eric Yardley, a right-hander, will now take over.
Am I wrong in assuming that Yardley's making his major league debut here this afternoon? 41 games down at AAA. That is El Paso for the Padres. All of those games up. They had 16 starts, 41 appearances overall. So welcome to the major leagues.
Sidewinder. First pitch he throws is whacked into left field and off the glove of Naylor, so that'll be a 2-base error. And a good way to get things started here in the Reds' third, down 1-0.
Yardley comes right down from down under right there. You may say he came down from around Laredo, not El Paso, but you know, anytime a pitcher comes in like that, you don't know anything about him, and he starts throwing down below, you're going to see very aggressive hitters up there because you don't want to start looking at his breaking ball and everything else. If you see something you can hit, go ahead and let it rip.
Strike one on Jose Iglesias. He struck out his first time up. Reds with a golden chance to, at the minimum, tie this game off against the reliever Yardley, and a bunt and a perfect bunt to advance a runner. They'll give Iglesias a sacrifice. So a runner at third base with 1 out in the inning. Yardley is 28. He'll be 29 on Sunday, and he's, I beg your pardon, just turned 29 this past Sunday, and he's pitched in nearly 300 minor league games. So that's the kind of guy, Chris, you feel good for after all that time in the minor leagues.
Indeed. Probably made a lot of adjustments along the way. Who knows that when he first signed at age 22, whether he was a sidewinder or not, I don't know that. And pitching to contact and gives up a base hit here to drive a run in.
And that's a Eugenio Suarez hitless in the series before today, and now a quick 2 for 2. Beat the shift there.
Yardley gets it up, and Suarez has got the big side of the infield. The right side really almost unattended at all. You've got a guy close to first base, but nobody else over there. So you're only kind of pitching in some bad luck if you want to look at it that way. An error by the left fielder, a sacrifice bunt, a ground ball that would be a double play ball for the man at first base, and he's given up a run, a man at first base, and only 1 out.
All right, now Aquino, he struck out his first time up. One out, one in, one on. 1-1 game. We're in the last of the third inning. Breaking ball sweeps away from Aquino. The appeal, he did not go around. Three and two on Aquino. And there's ball four. That was close. Quick visit to the mound by Mejia as Phillip Ervin comes to the plate. He had a soft single in the shallow center field just beyond the reach of his second baseman Garcia's first time up. And now the Reds are thinking about taking a lead. They've tied the game after the Padres scored in the top of the third inning. And now runners at first and second base with one out. Off the end of the bat again, and this one will fall in a hit. They are going to hold the runner Suarez at third. Oh boy. And just getting back to second base was Aquino after a big turn. So Ervin living right. A pair of those today.
Right off the end of the bat on a breaking pitch right here. Here comes Will Myers in here. They're going to hold Suarez at third base. Look at the big turn that Aquino has out there at second. And if that throw is a little closer to the bag, they may have caught him, but he gets back to the bag in time.
Boy, now you go through this whole delay of waiting on the manager to check with his video guy and the umpire having to walk over.
Well, they get 30 seconds. By rule, that's what the Major League Baseball is trying to do now, is to get that umpire, get the team to decide within 30 seconds whether you want a replay review or not. Of course, there are a lot of delay tactics you can do, like send your catcher out to the mound, but that counts as a visit.
Well, Andy Green apparently is going to make his way to the pitcher's mound. Winginter was the right-hander we saw in the first game of the series, and he's the one that's down there throwing right now. He was very impressive the other night. Big, tall, hard-throwing right-hander from Alabama.
I'm not so sure with the way that Andy Green has gone out there that he's going to make a pitching change. This might be a he is. He's just pointed to the bullpen.
Well, this will be a Johnny Holstaff kind of day today for the Padres, and they've had a number of those games this year. So Yardley makes his major league debut, and really some bad luck for him. Ball was dropped out in left field, the first batter of the inning. But the Reds will take advantage of it. They have them loaded with one out. Been a busy man, 45 games. Look at the opponent's batting average, but the walks are certainly an issue. 22 of them in 44 innings. Opponents hitting just 190 against him. But it's Suarez, a runner at third, Aquino at second base, Urban after the base hit at first, and Freddie Galvis, the batter. He went around, no doubt about that. Strike one. Galvis did not see Winginter in his one inning of no-hit shutout baseball. Winginter walked one and struck out two. Bit of a surprising number that he'd have that many home runs against San Diego. Of course, he's homered in each of the first two games of this series, but Galvis has played most of his career inside the National League East. That pitch in. 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, not getting a whole lot of help back there by Mejia, the way he's catching the pitches here today. I mean, it's pretty much got to be really well in the strike zone for him to convince an umpire it's a good pitch. Kind of jabbing at the ball back there defensively.
Now 3 balls and a strike.
Yeah, you got to come in there, and I'm betting dead red all the way here if I'm Freddie Galvis.
The bases are loaded in a 1-1 game. 3 balls and a strike to Galvis. He got dead red at 95 miles per hour, and he came up empty. And you got to believe he's going to get it again, don't you? 3-2 with the bases loaded.
Nice pop on that fastball. Good spot right there. Hard to duplicate that pitch if you're Winginter. 25 years old, made his debut last year. Another one of those big, tall, lanky right-handers the Padres have in their bullpen.
Came with a fastball and missed down and in to walk in a run. And the Reds have their first lead of the game. It's 2-1. Galvis is up there to swing the bat. Longest drought in Major League Baseball comes to an end. First time he's walked in his last 73 plate appearances. Good time to get that walk. Barnhart drops it foul off to the third base side out of play. Tucker now hitting from his stronger side with the bases loaded. And a foul ball back to get ahead 0-2 for Winginter. He went around, and that's strike 3 to Tucker Barnhart. A walk and a strikeout for Winginter. Now Van Meter. He struck out swinging in the second inning with runners at second and third and only 1 out. Bases loaded and Van Meter waiting. First pitch breaking ball rides high and away from a left-handed batting first baseman. 1-0. Comes back with a fastball on a 1-0 count, and it's high and away. 2 balls and no strikes. Inning started with an error, a drop ball and left by Naylor. That was off the bat of Senzel. He was bunted to third and wound up scoring on a single by Suarez. Then a walk to Aquino, a single by Urban to load him up, a bases loaded walk. And after a strikeout of Barnhart, Winginter's now gone 3-0 on Van Meter.
You green lighting him here?
Absolutely.
All day long with the pitcher on deck.
Yep. And Winginter has walked in another run. And the Reds add to their lead. It's now 3-1. That was a nice patient at bat there by Van Meter. Not necessarily the first 2 pitches, but the next 2 pitches.
Well, you can really be selective with bases loaded because you know you're going to get strikes. You should anyway if the pitcher can perform the minimum requirement of a guy coming out of the bullpen, which is actually throw the ball in the strike zone.
Now Castillo looks at strike 1. He grounded to short, stranding 2 in the second inning. 4 hits and 47 at bats this year for Castillo. He has not yet driven in a run, and a chance right here. 0-2. And that'll do it for the Reds in the inning, but they come up with 3 after the Padres score in the top of the inning.
Van Meter can play anywhere in the infield. He can play in the outfield. He has not looked out of place anywhere, and he brings a left-handed bat. Could be a solid part of the core going forward for the Reds. A diamond in the rough, if you will.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. He has been an excellent pickup for this Reds franchise, and he's trying to prove to everybody that when they have to start making decisions about, the offseason and who figures to be a big part of the team looking into 2020. Chris, I don't know, and obviously there are more people that have forgotten more about baseball than I'll ever know. I don't know if now with Galvis is here, I'm sure Van Meter was thinking, I might have a legitimate chance to earn my way into the starting lineup next year as a second baseman. And now all of a sudden, if Galvis does indeed come back, and we don't know how the whole Iglesias thing plays out, that's a big part of this too. But second base wouldn't appear to be open any longer.
I wouldn't think so, at least not on an everyday basis. Considering the fact that Galvis is a switch hitter, it even puts more pressure on, the guys that are playing behind him. It depends on how the team is made up as far as your extra pieces are, and really the only thing the Van Meter can do is continue to hit. If you hit, they will find a place for you to play. If you don't hit, you're going to be a backup, and if you really don't hit, then you're going to be down in the minor leagues. So it's all right there for you. If you're getting playing time, he's got an opportunity to become an everyday player, but he's just got to perform.
Then the other part of that whole mix is Van Meter getting a chance to play in the outfield as if on cue, a ground ball to him down there. He's starting to prove to you he can play a little bit of first base. We know he can play second base. We've seen him in the outfield. And then you start looking ahead to next year, and where are you with your outfield? We were talking about this yesterday with a number of the season ticket holders in a meet and greet before the game. And, you have, at least right now, in theory, Winker and Irvin You have Senzel, you have Aquino, and is Van Meter a part of the quote-unquote outfield mix too? He has to be. He can do them both.
Again, I think that the only thing a player can do is to want to be in the conversation, so that when they're all sitting around the decision-making table, coaches, front office guys, maybe some scouts and advisors, and that your name comes up, there's more than one person there that says, hey, this guy can hit, and I want him on the ball club. And from there on, it doesn't matter where you play him, because when you're in Van Meter's stage in his career, he just wants to be on a big league roster right now.
Great attitude, good guy.
Yeah.
Really good guy to have on a ball club, and Jim talked about his versatility.
And it creates a little bit of competition too, which is a great way to find out who can rise to the top. I mean, you start putting him in the outfield mix along with the guys that you've mentioned, Urban and Winker and Aquino, Senzel. It's makes things a little interesting. And that's the way good organizations have it. I mean, they just don't have one or two prospects that you're going to, baby and pamper and push to the top. I mean, you look at the problem that the Padres have, if you call it a problem. They got one of the best minor league systems in baseball. These guys are clawing at each other to try to get to the major leagues. And they've already got a pretty good team up here.
Well, we wondered, as the Reds at bat took 39 minutes, we wondered would it have any effect on Luis Castillo. He's come out very sharp here in this fourth inning with a ground out and now a strikeout.
Boy, launch angle, time of inning, you are on top of your game today.
No, we give all the credit to Joel Lucca, our statistician. I roll my eyes while he just tracks the minutes. 9 men came to the plate.
What is that? Is that a 3-slice inning for Jim Day, would you say?
On the ground to second base. Well, Jesse hadn't picked up the pie yet, but Jim's already at the table, and he's got a bib on. Bit of rain, the first rain in quite some time, and there was a lot of cloud cover, which kept the temperatures pretty moderate most of the morning, but now the sun breaking through, shining brightly. Padres again continue to go one member of the bullpen after another. And that's the kind of day it's going to be. This guy looked really good in the first game of the series, in Luis Perdomo.
Perdomo is a former starter, and they just didn't think that he had enough different pitches, I think. But boy, they put him in a bullpen this year. He has done very, very well. Still only 26 years old, in his 4th year as a major leaguer. Started 10 last year, 29 the year before that, 20 in his rookie year. That was 2016 when he was 23 years old.
Yeah, I would definitely not throw in the towel on this guy. And not suggesting the Padres are, but I wouldn't throw in the towel quite yet on him as a starter.
It's amazing how many. I think a lot of pitchers fall into the same profile as Perdomo. They get out and they struggle a little bit. A lot of them will struggle the third time through the lineup, and they say, all right, well, what does his pitch repertoire include? Does he have a go-to pitch that he can face the same batter 2 or 3 or even 4 times and get the guys out? And then all of a sudden you put him in the bullpen and your fastball goes up, your slider gets harder, and they just seem to perform better in short spurts. Maybe like a guy like Michael Lorenzen. Look at the kind of success he's had since his transition to the pen.
Senzel a pop up, Will Myers' way, and it's out number 1. If a Red hits a home run off that Toyota sign in right center. I'm not sure how to pronounce this last name. What do you think? Bruckner?
Yeah.
Okay. From Fairfield, Ohio. Ralph, I hope I got that right. You would win that Tundra if someone does it from the Reds today, thanks to your Cincinnati and/or Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. High fly ball down the left field line towards the corner. Bye-bye. A home run by Iglesias.
What is this guy like, the high ball or what? I mean, you throw it up around the eyes. I don't think you can throw it high enough for Jose Iglesias.
And that's from a guy who had not allowed a home run in almost 39 innings.
That's a hanging slider right there, and Iglesias is not going to let that one get by.
And a big fella making a play.
That was all launch angle right there, Tom.
And again, that fella making that play out there, and that launch angle 5,000 device paying off.
39 degrees in that launch angle, which is basically almost straight up in the air. The way they send up rocket ships.
That one will drift into the mid of the first baseman Hosmer, and taken care of is Suarez. Hot smash into left field. That's the most solid contact in the last 3 or 4 games off the bat of Aquino. That ball smoked.
Right now the Reds are hitting the slider pretty hard, especially when you're leaving it outer third thigh high. You know, Perdomo is from the same town, and it's a large town, obviously, the capital of Dominican Republic, Santo Domingo. I can guarantee you, if they're not teammates in winter ball, and Aquino has played almost every year down there in winter ball, I imagine Perdomo has done his fair share of winter league play down in the Dominican Republic. Pretty good brand of baseball you get down there in the wintertime.
And the players who are from there take great pride in playing in their homeland. It's a big deal. Even some of the great stars come back for a week or two tune up from time to time. One ball and one strike on Irvin. A couple of singles that he's dropped into center field, and a hot smash down to third that will be the final out of the inning. But the home run ball off the bat of Iglesias gives the Reds a 4-1 lead. For tickets, visit Reds.com/150. So the Reds with a 4-1 lead. We are just in the top of the 5th inning. And a high fly ball out of play off the bat of Will Myers. He'll be followed by France and then Urias. 6, 7, 8 in a San Diego batting order. A leadoff single in the third by France. He would score on a 2-out double by Garcia. The only 2 hits, the only 2 base runners in the game so far against Castillo. 2-2 to Myers. And we'll do it again. And that one right by Iglesias, and he says that's on me.
Yeah, that's on him, I think, because he thought that perhaps Galvis was playing on that side of the infield, and it looks like he took one step and he didn't want to get in the way of Galvis, but Galvis wasn't there. He was actually playing much more up the middle. In fact, he was on the other side of the bag, and
that ball was hit a little better than I first thought it was. You watch it on replay, it didn't look like it left the bat with much on it, but that shot through there rather quickly. So Myers with a base hit to begin the inning. And now France.
Another ground ball by Luis Castillo. He's a guy today that has been hard to elevate. He's had 4 strikeouts so far, which is down for Castillo. But he's got 8 ground ball outs. And no outs in the air.
Two and 0 on Ty France. He had a double into left center field. Or a single into left center field, scored the only San Diego run. That was in the 3rd inning. And now 3 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, France looks like a guy that you want to pitch away. You know, short body, short arms, very strong, probably quick on the inside pitch. Three runs down. I don't think they give him the green light here.
He's similarly built to another guy who came up initially with San Diego. We've seen him in recent years in St. Louis, though injured this year, in Jed Jerko.
Yeah.
Three and 1 to France. Leadoff man aboard. And Castillo, who's looking for the double play, and he's going to get it here. Can't draw it up any better than that.
Well, he wasn't as quick inside as I thought. Got jammed a little bit in on the hands, and another ground ball that turns into, this time, 2 outs for Castillo.
Castillo has not walked a batter today, despite the fact that he's had 6 3-ball counts. There's a soft liner, and Senzel was late getting there. That was going to be a tough one to get no matter what. So Urias with a base hit.
You know, for years, Tom, actually generations, you see outfielders get a little bit slower breaks during day games than you do night games. If there's any white shirts in the background, reflection off seats, you just don't get the same depth perception when the sun is shining as when you have that lighting up the field. And I'll tell you, the lighting nowadays in Major League stadiums is almost brighter at night than it is during the day.
But you're so right about all the white shirts. I mean, it's incredible when you just stand in an outfield, and all it takes is obviously one person from the initial crack of the bat. If that one person where that ball is meeting bat, and then behind the batter, there's a person in a white shirt, that can be the difference in making a play like that or not making the difference in a play like that.
Because the last thing an outfielder wants is to get burnt. You don't want a ball over your head. So you figure I can always go in on the ball. That's why you see a lot of outfielders playing deeper than shallow. Of course, Senzel plays very shallow anyway. Billy Hamilton played about as shallow as I've ever seen a center fielder here. Of course, Perdomo, the pitcher, up here.
This guy has 13 career hits. He can swing the bat. He has 4 career triples, believe it or not. If I were a betting man, I'd bet those triples came in San Diego and Colorado, playing in that division. Those are 2 great triple friendly parks.
Gotta have some wheels.
You do.
For a pitcher to have a triple.
Hot smash foul off the facing in front of the dugout.
I bet those triples are down the third base line too.
Well, the one park I should have included on that was San Francisco. He has 2 of them in San Diego and 2 of them in San Francisco. Another great triples park.
Poor Joe Lucca.
He's all over.
You're working him overtime.
I'm telling you, he's had a big time homestand. Big time year.
Well, he
found the launch angle, found the right exit velo. His spin rate has improved dramatically from a year ago. His WAR has made an enormous jump. It's been that kind of year for Joe Lucca.
What about his DeVelo?
We're still working on that one. We're trying to figure out how you could tie in Aquino, Babe Ruth, Craig Counsell, and Otis Nixon. There's a pop-up into fair territory, which will retire the side. But we're going to work very hard on that over the next 5. Watch. He was just such a good player here. I mean, look, no player is perfect. And so you can poke holes and, you know, he didn't do this and maybe he didn't do that. But if you wanted a guy that was going to play every single day, give you everything he had, he never cared about where you put him in a batting order. Played through so many injuries. I mean, some of the injuries that Brandon Phillips played through, 95% of the players in Major League Baseball don't even get in uniform for the game.
I agree 100%. And a lot of times we didn't even know about it until after the fact, when he had that broken tip of his finger, which is something that takes months to heal. Played right through that. He was really a gamer.
Gamer is right. And had a really, really, really outstanding career. All right, Perdomo now to begin his second inning of work. He gave up the solo home run in the Cincinnati 4th inning to Jose Iglesias. And he'll face Freddie Galvis to start off the bottom of the 5th. Get a look at the Cincinnati bullpen. Maybe he's just getting loose down there right now. It'd be a shock if they're thinking about Castillo leaving this game. He's pitched 5 innings. Now, he does have a rather high pitch count for him. .88 pitches in the game so far for Castillo. 2-2 to Galvis. Shot foul. That one will drift in amongst the fans, out of play. hit hard, but at the second baseman. And Garcia throws out Galvis. And now a quick message from Miami Valley Gaming.
Get ready to get lucky at Miami Valley Gaming.
One gone to begin the Reds' fifth inning. And Tucker Barnhart 0 for 2, the batter. And he's out on the first pitch of the at-bat. 2 quick ones for Perdomo. Strike one to Josh Van Meter, who struck out his second in the second, and then he drew the bases loaded walk to pick up his 15th run batted in on the season. High fly ball hit pretty well into left center field and back to get it. Nice play out there made by Naylor. Boy, that's a nice play. Looking right into the sunshine, and that ball continuing to carry on this warm afternoon. We're off to the 6th in the Reds' losing effort, unfortunately, on Monday night. And in Sonny Gray picked up win number 9 here last night. Castillo with 4 strikeouts through the front 5 innings. He sits at 88 pitches. If you're wondering, the last team to have starting pitchers strike out 3 or more in 3 straight games, you've got to go back to the 2016 San Francisco Giants. Late September that year, Matt Moore, Jeff Samardzija, and our old buddy Johnny Cueto. Top of the order, big inning for Castillo. First pitch, liner caught by Iglesias. What a nice play by the Reds shortstop. That ball had some wicked movement on it coming off the bat.
Second time in a row that Garcia has hit the ball right on the screws. Hit a ball in the gap in the 3rd inning for a base hit, and that one picked by Iglesias. Nice job.
And Castillo hoping for some quick outs so he can hang around this game for a while. We're into the 6th inning. And he's quickly ahead of Naylor at 0-2. That's a second out in the inning on a tapper down to Van Meter. Hey, by the way, speaking of Johnny Cueto, our producer Josh Hall staying on top of so many stories around baseball, and one of them is that Johnny Cueto, Chris, is on the comeback trail. He had a minor league appearance last night where he threw 60 pitches, and I know I would be so bold and humble as to speak for all Reds fans, even though he pitches for a different team. We are all wishing nothing but the very, very best for Johnny Cueto. Well, what a great performer he was.
Yeah, and a wonderful man as well. Really cared about his teammates, was a good guy to be around, and obviously you could depend on him to give you a good effort on the mound. The Giants, by the way, are just 4.5 games out. They're an even 500 ball club right now. Bruce Bochy, with the kind of problems they've had injury-wise, the turnover on the roster, the trades that they've made, he may be doing his best managerial job in his entire career here in his last year.
You're right.
At least last year with the Giants.
And they're hoping, Chris, that the game plan for Cueto, if you're talking about a team that's trying to get into the postseason, is to have him back by the 8th, 9th, 10th of September. And then all of a sudden, who knows, right? I mean, could you imagine getting him back to go along with Bumgarner if they were to be making a late run?
Very interesting.
Two-out single keeps the inning alive for Hunter Renfroe. Two balls and a strike. These have been as tight as you can get the first two games of this series, both 3-2 decisions into Padres' favor on Monday night. The Reds claiming victory here last night, and straight up in the air. Playable for Nick Senzel or Irvin. It'll be the center fielder, and that will end the inning. One hit, one left. Reds will bat in the 6th, leading 4-1. Castillo, and even 100 pitches, he will be lifted at the end of 6 innings, allowing 5 hits and a run. Didn't walk a batter, fan 4. So Castillo, a really solid bounce back performance after the worst start of his major league career, at least as far as allowing runs. He allowed a career high 8 runs in that game against St. Louis. And yes, indeed, nice to have you back, Mr. Castillo.
He's done that every time. Every time this year, Castillo has given up at least 4 runs or more. He has come back the next start, and I mean with a lights out performance.
Here's Brian O'Grady batting for Castillo. And he is out of there swinging to begin the Cincinnati 6th inning. Perdomo starting his 3rd inning of work. It's been a nice bounce back series, and you would expect that when you get the quote unquote big 3 in the Red starting rotation. The last time through, it was not good, with the exception of Sonny Gray. And even that start was a 5-inning outing. But Bauer, the worst start of his career. Castillo, the worst start of his career. And so both of those guys looking to come back strong this next go round, and that they have. In this series, 19 innings from the starters, allowing a total of 4 earned runs. They struck out 25 while walking only 4. There's a tapper down to 3rd, and Senzel thrown out. So a 1.89 ERA in this series from the trio of Bauer, Gray, Castillo. Line drive, center field, a base hit, and it gets by Myers, and it rolls to the wall. This will be 3 bases for Iglesias easily. And he's going to take off for home and then slam on the brakes as that ball caromed off the glove of the 3rd baseman France, but the pitcher was backing up the play.
It's one of those kind of a do or die play for the center fielder, Will Myers. I think he gets a couple of steps in and realizes, uh-oh, I'm not getting to this ball on a fly. And he hopes that the ball is going to be able to be picked in his glove, but it goes right beneath his glove, between his glove and his body. That'll go down as a triple. Iglesias' good field awareness right here. He looks off to his right and he sees Perdomo, who was backing up in the right spot right there, and he saved himself a run.
So now Suarez, who's 2 for 3, has knocked in a run, scored a run, trying to extend the Cincinnati lead in the 6th inning. Oh, and 2 on Suarez. And that's strike 3 called. We head to the 7th. The Reds with a 4-1 lead.
Padres certainly didn't like seeing him. The Reds have a really good chance right now of nailing this one down and taking 2 out of 3. Sending the Padres back to San Diego. They've got a day off tomorrow. Of course, the Reds have a day off tomorrow. That'll be a travel day late in the days, but they head to Pittsburgh for a very much anticipated 3-game series with the Pirates.
Lucas Sims takes over on the mound now for Cincinnati. He's become a big part of this bullpen. I mean, he basically has taken a spot that was held by David Hernandez.
Yeah.
Early in the year when Hernandez was coming in, like now, 2 or 3 run lead in the 7th inning in front of Lorenzen, Garrett, Iglesias. This young man's throwing the ball very well. He's made 7 appearances here in the month of August, spanning nearly a full 27 outs, 8 2/3, where he's only allowed 3 hits in a run. He's punched out 15. The only thing he'd like to see get a little bit better would be the 6 walks in the 8 2/3 innings. Driven a long way into right center, and that one will carry out of here. Francisco Mejia. Well, every time you say something nice about a guy, the next guy hits one into the river. I'm done. D-U-N. That's the 3rd time it's happened in this series.
Join the club. Well, he has done a good job. I mean, the bottom line is that, and Mejia can hit. I mean, he is definitely in there because of his bat. We saw him play left field yesterday. He's catching today. They're trying to, get his catching defensive skills smoothed out a little bit. But what doesn't need much improvement is that bat. Man, can he swing it? So they're going to change that scoring decision on Will Myers. They're going to change that to a single and an error.
So instead of a triple.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. The run doesn't come around to score.
No. So it would have no effect on the pitcher in a negative way. So all of a sudden, the 4-2 game, and gone swinging Will Myers for the first out in the 7th. Ty France down a strike, and Sims to the plate. Breaking ball sails away from him. Sims is single into left center field and bounced into a double play in the 5th inning. Talk to the Padres people, and they've really been happy with Manny Machado. Remember, there were a lot of people really taken aback by the comments that Machado had made in the past, as recently as during the World Series, talking about not running balls out all the time, and some of the mustard on top of the hot dog, if you will. And no one directly came out and said, hey, we're not going to sign this guy because of those statements or because that reason or this reason. But you can take it to the bank. There were teams that were certainly concerned about it. But talk to anybody that's been affiliated with this Padres team this year, and they have been very happy with the way he has played. And everybody knew when he went to San Diego that his power numbers were going to take a hit, because he has put up some monster power numbers playing in Baltimore, and then after going over to the Dodgers, that ball pulled foul and out of play. I mean, so, for Machado, are his 35 or 38 or 40 home runs and 110, 115 runs batted in, are those in the past? He's not on pace for that kind of year this year. 71 runs batted in, and he has 26 home runs. Iglesias will handle the pop-up for the 2nd out of the inning.
Sims is a former #1 draft pick. Many of those guys you'll see in the major league rosters. He was taken out of high school, Lawrenceville High School down in Georgia. 21st pick overall. A couple of picks after Michael Wacha was taken by the Cardinals, Texas A&M. That was Carlos Correa, taken as the first player in that draft, 2012. If you're wondering, Reds picked up Nick Travioso.
Reds had high hopes for Travieso.
Yeah, I think, he was a good-looking pitcher, Tommy. He just was injured, and sometimes you just can't anticipate injuries, and some you're able to come back from, some not so. We hope that Nick's doing all right and can pitch again. Good young man, really nice young man. Key right here for Sims is to keep Urias off the base and not have to face Machado as a tying run.
In the air, right side, and that'll take care of things here in the 7th. A solo home run by Mejia. The Reds have a 2, and so he will be lifted from this game, and Craig Stammen takes over in the bullpen. Manuel Margot takes over in center field for Myers. Saw Margot get the start here last night. Aquino's been on base twice. He's walked, scored a run, and had a hot smash into left field, a single his last time up. There's that breaking ball that they try to entice him with. And from time to time they'll have some luck. But he also from time to time has been rather patient. Taking that for a ball. And now hoping for something good to hit on 2-2. Stammen has had a solid career. Young man, a native Buckeye. And there's that breaking ball again that was never a strike. Didn't appear to be a strike, and Aquino doesn't chase it.
You know, Aquino right now in his stage of his career is basically in the see the ball, hit the ball mode. He doesn't know these pitchers. You know, you can get a scouting report, but I'm not so sure that they're trying to overwhelm him with information. The way he came up here in such a groove, you want to leave him alone.
Hopper down to third base, long throw, and Aquino getting up that line, but he's out by half a step.
Boy, I like that hustle.
Yeah. And Irvin taps out for the second out of the inning. Reds baseball always live with MLB at bat. Download the MLB at bat today, your #1 app for the Cincinnati Reds. So Stammen comes on, retires the first two batters here in the inning, and now Freddie Galvis steps in. Hooked into right field, and it'll fall in a base hit it by the diving Renfroe. Galvis on his way to second base. He is going to slam on the brakes here with 2 outs in the inning, and just does dive back.
Boy, Galvis just continues to hammer the baseball. Second hit of the game. He was on base in the second inning with a base on the third inning with the base on balls. This ball, a humpback line drive that Renfroe really has no shot at. I don't think he would have been able to corral that ball if he had just taken a different angle to try to cut it off. So the Reds now have a chance to add one more to their lead with the 2 out base hits.
Tucker Barnhart 0 for 3 in the game. Picked up his first stolen base since 2017 when he reached on a fielder's choice back in the second inning. He has since struck out and bounced out to the first baseman. Reds have Michael Lorenzen getting loose in the bullpen, and he will come on to pitch. It looks like the top of the 8th inning. Runner at second, 2 down, and the 0-2 is a fastball that Stammen thought should have been strike 3. One ball, 2 strikes. Holy Moses. This cannot be that complicated. Galvis has been standing out there during this entire at bat.
Been out there so long his hands turning glue.
Two and two to Tucker Barnhart. And now Stammen a check of the runner and struck him out to end the inning. We're off to the 8th. Reds in front 4-2.
This afternoon a businessman special got underway at 12:30 when the temperature was really under control, but as the sun came out a little bit warm in the stands, and they have been treated to a nice ball game with the Reds now 6 outs away from nailing down 2 out of 3 against the Padres.
I got a buddy of mine who stopped up to the booth to see, lives in a neighborhood, and he grew up in Ireland as Michael Lorenzen takes over, and so his best friend growing up just brought his son to come to a Major League Baseball game today. Yeah, they have really, really enjoyed it. Well, you hear some of the stories about growing up in Ireland. Oh, doctor. 1-0 to Margot, and he looks at a fastball, and there's a strike. Lorenzen was so good here in the game last night. I mean, he came in throwing missiles. Remember, in that 8th inning, Amir Garrett returned from his 8-game suspension and walked the first 2 batters in the inning. So that's what Lorenzen walked into. There's a pop up into right field. One away. Lorenzen got a fly ball out. He had a ground ball that looked like it had a chance to be a double play, but Iglesias, the shortstop, his throw got by Van Meter and went into the dugout. A run did score, and then the next batter, a little pop up into center, and Lorenzen was just overpowering. And there have been a lot of games Lorenzen comes into this year where he looks like the best relief pitcher in the league.
Yeah, you're right. And what's really helped him this year, I think he's gotten away from that cut fastball a little bit that he really fell in love with last year, even early in the year this year. And he's developed his changeup, which is, you know, we always talk about the Luis Castillo changeup, but Lorenzen is almost as effective.
Lucas Sims goes an inning, allows a hit and a run, the home run. And he picked up 1 strikeout, did not walk a batter. Rubber game of this 3-game series between the Padres and the Reds, and their strike 3 call. 97 miles per hour, knee high on the outside edge. Strike 1 to Josh Naylor. Reds with a 2-run lead. Need 4 more outs to pick up a series win against the Padres. Wow. And Lorenzen with a spectacular 8th inning. 1, 2, 3, a pair of strikeouts. Reds in front, 4-2. Ray St. Clair Roofing. Off day tomorrow for the Redlegs, and on to Pittsburgh. And Reds Live will get underway at 6:30, 6:30, and 1 o'clock Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You see the pitching matchups. TBA because Chris Archer had to leave a game, and not sure who the Pirates might go with in the finale of that series.
Boy, they have had their share of injuries, especially when it comes to starting pitching.
Josh Van Meter has struck out, drawn a bases loaded walk. That was in the 3-run 3rd inning when the Reds took the lead and have held that lead since then. And then he hit a drive into left field that Naylor made a really nice play on, crashing into the wall, able to hang on to the baseball. Stammen his 2nd inning of relief. They've used Strom, Yardley, Winginter, Perdomo, Stammen. They do have an off day tomorrow. They've got a nice August series starting at home on Friday night. The Boston Red Sox will come to Petco Park. Those will be huge crowds for those 3 games.
I'm sure the Red Sox will enjoy their trip to San Diego and wonder, man, how can we get them in the AL East?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure that they ask the American League those questions regularly about the California cities in general. Yeah. I mean, you know, the National League is quite fortunate. Anaheim's a nice place, not saying anything about that. And we've enjoyed our time in Oakland through the years. But, you know, would you rather play at Dodger Stadium? Although that ballpark in Anaheim is pretty sweet. And then in San Francisco, great ballpark.
Yeah, but where the Reds stay in San Diego, the hotel is actually connected to the ballpark.
Yeah, it's great. There's a rocket into right field by Van Meter.
Now, the first hit of the day for Josh as he gets a pitch pretty much right down Broadway and punishes it hard. Line drive over the head of the first baseman, or actually second baseman. Reds still trying to play a little add-on right here.
Well, you have a 2-run lead. It certainly would help. Iglesias is ready to go down in the Cincinnati bullpen. He picked up the save last night. And we'll look to try and do the same thing in back-to-back outings. Iglesias got his 25th save of the year last night. Jose Peraza up there batting for Lorenzen, who goes a perfect inning with a couple of strikeouts. It seems like virtually every game, and I know it's a stretch, and it's not quite true, but it certainly feels that way, that there's a tapper down to third base and a throw in time to get Peraza, that every time Van Meter gets a chance to get in the lineup and get 4 or 5 plate appearances in a game, it feels like he's getting on base a couple of times every game. Done it again today. He has a single, a bases loaded walk. Started the game last night, was on base twice, 2 hits, a stolen base, 2 runs scored. He came on late in a game, got 2 at-bats in the opening game of this series and went 1 for 2, knocked in a run with a single. Guys really played well. Two balls and a strike to Nick Senzel. Breaking ball away. Senzel officially 0 for 4. He reached on an error on a hard hit ball, but it was a ball that should have been caught by Naylor back in that 3rd inning. But it started the 3-run rally. Three and two to Senzel with Van Meter at second base and 1 out. Popped up. And that's a 2nd out of the inning. StatCast AI powered by AWS. Chris, let's go back to the home run by Iglesias in the 4th inning.
Boy, got a hanger right here from the guy that has not given up a home run in a long time, Luis Perdomo. Not the exit velocity, but how about the angle of launch? 39 degrees. Outstanding job there by Iglesias. He's been doing it all year long.
And a ground ball by the mound off the bat of Iglesias to retire the side. So here we go. Iglesias will come on and try and save it for a 2nd straight night. Reds in front by 2.
Interesting article that appeared in Fangraphs today about that. And of course, the use of bullpens and throughout Major League Baseball is up significantly over the last few years, as it is here in Cincinnati. When you can call on some of the guys they've been able to do today, especially the back end, Lorenzen and Iglesias, they have been pretty good for the most part. Lucas Sims with a nice inning, although he gave up a home run in the 7th. 2-run lead here for Rysell.
Well, Iglesias, he had that breaking ball working last night. You had said, Chris, after he fell behind 3-1 to Renfroe with 2 outs in the 9th inning in a 1-run game. Renfroe, a guy with 31 home runs.
Yeah.
And you just said spin a couple of those sliders up there, and it'll be strike 2 and strike 3, and you were right on the button.
Man, oh man, how about that little fastball with the movement that it had there? I mean, throwing at 96 is tough enough, but getting it to move like that also, that's special.
And there's a strikeout of Hosmer. That is the 69th strikeout combined by the two teams in this series. The most total strikeouts ever in a 3-game series ever played in Cincinnati all time.
Somewhere there's a baseball analytics executive with a big smile.
Now, if you're wondering about the most strikeouts ever involving the Reds in a 3-game series, that number would be 71. So 2 more strikeouts and we'd match it. That was in 1995 September. The Reds were in Philadelphia. I mean, think about that for a minute. That strikeout total. That is just mind-boggling. So the Reds, if they don't need a bottom of the 9th inning, okay, they didn't need one last night, right? So the Reds only got 24 outs instead of 27 outs. Because they didn't bat in the bottom of the ninth inning. So there were a total of 54 outs in the game, the first game.
Uh-oh, math in public.
Well, help me now, Joel. 54 outs in the first game, right? The two teams, 9 in a game, right? Okay, 51 outs if the Reds don't bat today in each of the last 2. So that brings us to 156 total outs. There, see? I'm getting better. The tutor's working.
Well, it's a committee effort. I'm seeing Joel over there.
All right, but 156 outs. 69 of the 156 strikeouts. That's 44%.
Wow, that's really high.
That is incredible.
Well, it hasn't hurt the Reds today. They picked up 10 hits, so they've also left 10 on base. This game really shouldn't be as close as it is, although Iglesias is making it look like a runaway with the way he's pitching here in the ninth inning.
He is just he's back in the groove. After every Reds game, we call it Reds Live, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. We'll break it all down. Jim Day will be down in the Fox Sports Ohio condominium. Jeff Piccolo will get together with a player on the field. And will we match the record for the Reds in any 3-game series? They've already broken it. Number of strikeouts, the Reds and the Padres, for a 3-game series in Cincinnati at 70. And is this all time in the Reds franchise history in a 3-game series? Wow, 71. And I got a feeling we're matching that number. Well, the bottom line is the Reds beginning this stretch of games against some teams that are pretty much in the same boat they're on, if not worse. Are trying to make it 2 out of 3 before they make their way to Pittsburgh for 3, Miami for 4, and then a 3-game series in St. Louis. That young lady excited about the Red Legs and wanting to see Rysel fan the side. Swung on and fouled out of play. Manny Machado's on deck, so Mejia's a good player and a good hitter, and looks like he's got a chance to be a really good hitter. But this is a guy that Iglesias is coming after. You don't want to see Machado representing the tying run at the plate here in the 9th inning. Straight up in the air, and this ought to do it. Suarez waving off the coming Urban, and that is that. The Reds have taken care of the Padres in back-to-back games after losing the opener, with a final count in a victory today. A 4-2. Iglesias a little shaken up there by the fireworks. I get it.
He hasn't heard enough of that during day games.
Check him out. Oh, look out. All right. Reds win, Reds win, Reds win. We'll be back with more in a moment.